Oh, we got a human skull. Guy just randomly gives you a human skull. That's fine, probably. Gorf the Ghost Saves Halloween. This is a fun little game I picked up on itch.io for the Game Boy, and if this looks cool, you can actually go there and play it on your browser right now. I will leave a link in the description. It's a really fun little Game Boy game that has sort of become a bit of my standard rotation for Halloween games to get me pumped for the season. It's very, very good. The story follows the titular ghost named Gorf. He wants to go trick-or-treating for Halloween this year, but he has one very big problem. He's a ghost, ergo he's non-corporeal and he can't interact with anything ever. Game over. No, actually, this game is kind of fine with ghosts being corporeal creatures, even though one character seems to think Gorf is actually just a kid in a costume, even though everyone else seems to know who he is as a ghost, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe don't take the story to this too seriously, but he wants to go trick-or-treating, but an evil skeleton has appeared in the graveyard, and everyone's too spooked about it, so no trick-or-treating unless Gorf does something about it. What follows is a fairly basic top-down, almost sort of PC-style adventure game where you go around talking to various NPCs, picking up objects, and basically going through a bit of a trade sequence to eventually get to the skeleton, and wacky adventures ensue. It works really, really well overall. You can go and explore this town, going into various houses, interacting with all the NPCs, figuring out what they want, and getting hints on how to solve other puzzles, and where to find other very important NPCs. It all works really, really well. The only issue I have, and this is without spoiling it, is the final confrontation with the skeleton, which kind of flips the gameplay on its head and just doesn't quite fit with the rest of the game. There's a bit of an execution challenge involved. Now, the bright side is if you fail this execution challenge, you can just replay the boss fight. It respawns you at the start of the fight anyway. So you've got unlimited chances for that, which is good. Unfortunately, it just feels like it doesn't quite gel with the rest of the concept of the game. But aside from that one sort of little bit of lack of consistency, the game itself is really, really fun. It's not a huge adventure, mind you. The entire game takes about 15, maybe 20 minutes to complete, maybe 10 if you know what you're doing. But it's just a fun, silly, goofy, good time. The writing itself is really on point. There's some really silly jokes in here, and just the overall tone is one that made me smile. It's very, very goofy, but it is a lot of fun, and I think that is something that a lot of people could enjoy. The gameplay to Gorf the Ghost is relatively simple, straightforward, but a lot of fun. The presentation to Gorf the Ghost is likewise fairly simple, but pretty well done. The visuals are striking, character designs themselves, they're very functional, and they work for what they need to do. The audio itself isn't super remarkable, but it's quite fitting, and it works very, very well. Overall, the presentation fits for exactly what it's trying to be, a rather small but well-made indie Game Boy adventure game. It's good, and there's not really a lot to complain about presentation-wise. Now, if you want a copy of Gorf the Ghost Saves Halloween, you can get it on itch.io, and you can play it on your browser right now, which is great. If you want the actual Game Boy ROM, it's also downloadable at a name-your-own-price model, and if this game looks good, and let me tell you, it is pretty good, I suggest you do that. Just don't be that guy who says, "Ha, I'll pay $0, because that's what I want to pay," because that's a dick move, and you're better than that. I know, because you watch my channel. Hi! And this is a one-person development project that's just a fun, cute little adventure game. If this looks good, pay for it, because it's great. It's a fun little game that I would throw into my annual Halloween rotation, and I mean, I have. And now I get to show it to you in 2 separate videos. Yeah, this review's pretty short, but it's a pretty straightforward game, and it's not very long, and at the point of recording, I've already covered about a third of my entire playthrough if I don't cut this up any. It's a very simple, very straightforward, cute little adventure game that gets you ready for Halloween, and it's got a fun little story. If you want a nice, bite-sized little game, you can't go wrong with Gorf the Ghost Saves Halloween. Candy corn. This is the worst candy ever. Next to Jawbreakers. You're crazy lady.